how you doing? This is Ivan from Bitesize Wisdom for Busy People, and I just want to thank you again for joining me here today. And I want to share another idea to help you live more consciously, and also an idea that can help you understand yourself better. And the idea involves an experiment. And what I want you to do is just for one whole day to not complain. Impossible, I know. But just try your best. It doesn't matter how big or small. Try your best to not complain, or to stop yourself from complaining as soon as you realize that you're complaining. Maybe it's the weather. Today it's raining. Like here it's raining here today. And the weather is one of the things that people always talk about, and it has a huge influence on your mood, on your way of thinking. So if a rainy day is something that usually brings you down, just try your best to not complain. Or maybe it's the person at the grocery store who's ahead of you in line and they're just really irritating you. Or you're driving and somebody cuts you off. So no matter how big or small, just try your best to not complain. Because what this experiment is trying to show us, is that for many of us, complaining occupies a big part of our day. For many of us, that's all we do is complain. So that's one of the key insights that we need to get from this experiment, is just, first of all, just to show us how much we complain. So in order for you to see how much you complain, it's going to require you to observe yourself. And almost everybody believes that they observe themselves, that they're always observing their behavior and whatnot. But the reality is that most of us don't really observe ourselves objectively, because we've never been taught how to observe ourselves. So when I speak about self-observation, and this is a theme and a topic, and many of the ideas that I share, you will hear me repeat them continuously. And the reason is because these are key principles and key ideas to help us become more conscious and more aware. And these are ideas that need to be repeated, because the reality is that many of us are very unconscious. We're basically asleep, because most of us live in a type of self-hypnosis in our minds and in our emotions. So it requires us to constantly be exposed to these ideas that I share, and to come at it from many angles until finally some of these ideas are able to penetrate our usual ways of thinking, our usual ways of being. And that's my hope, is that after repeating many of these themes, many of these ideas in different ways, and just by your constant repetition, is that one day finally it will, when the time is right and that you're ready, the idea becomes assimilated into your way of being, it touches not only your mind, but in your heart and your body. And that's when you will really understand some of these ideas that I share. And when that happens, this will become your own understanding, your own knowledge, which will then ripple out into your everyday life. And then once it's your own understanding, you'll be able to gain further insight and see how it applies in various ways. So, as I mentioned, what we're trying to do here is become aware of how much we complain. So that's going to require that you observe yourself, and self-observation, and in the way that I am about to share with you, and how I've shared before in some of my videos. So the first thing is that you need to locate yourself in time and space. What does that mean? That means just basically become aware of your body. And how do we become aware of our body? It is just to bring awareness to the sensation of our body, And many people will do this in many ways. I think a helpful way is just for the sake of this experiment, is to bring awareness and attention to your solar plexus, to your abdominal area. So just bring sensation to your abdominal area. And what we're trying to do here is just ground our attention in our body. And from this place, once you have your attention in your body and you've located yourself in time and space, like, I'm here in this place, in this time, in this moment. And this is just a simple acknowledgement of our existence in this moment. So once you've done that, then you can observe whatever's going on in your inner world, and what you're thinking and what you're feeling. And the reason the importance of grounding yourself in your body is because we're trying to be objective to our observation. What happens is like I mentioned before, people think they observe themselves, but most of us have become very head-oriented. We live our lives in our heads. And what happens is if you just observe from the level of the mind without grounding your attention in your body, it would just be the mind observing the mind. And when it's at that level, it's too easy to deceive oneself, because at that level, it's like a house of mirrors. After a while, your observation just becomes lost and you don't know what is true because it's so many reflections. So by grounding your attention in your body, it is like bringing your attention outside of the mind, and then from that point, looking back at the mind. So once you're able to do that, and this is a practice that you need to really practice daily, make it a way of life, because at the beginning stages, you will only be able to maintain your attention and on the sensation of your body for very small amounts of time, because this is just something that we're not accustomed to. So this is how you become more conscious, because to do this requires conscious effort for you to do this. But the more you do it, the better you will get at it. And from this perspective, you will able to observe the contents of your mind more objectively. So, as I mentioned, the goal of this experiment was to see how much we complain. So in doing this, you will be able to be more objective and see that as you go throughout your day, you will see your mind want to complain about everything. And like I mentioned in another video, is that our mind is basically a mechanism for labeling things under good or bad. It's kind of black or white. So, like I mentioned some of the examples earlier of, being at the grocery store, driving, the weather. You will see how your mind will automatically, as it encounters the impressions of the day, it will want to say, oh, today it's rainy. Oh, I should feel bad. Oh, this guy cut me off. He's a jerk. So, you will see your mind labeling this. But by grounding the attention in your body and keeping the sensation on your body, you will be able to observe that more objectively. And because you're seeing it, you don't need to be it. That's another key idea for you to try to assimilate, is if you can see it, I don't need to be it. Which means I do not need to go along with this labeling process and become identified, because as soon as you become identified and you don't question the labeling process, it will be force of habit that will choose for you. And in that, there's no freedom. So that's one of the key insights that you need to get, is to see how you label everything automatically in the black and white. And you will see, and the reason I chose complaining is because complaining occupies such a big part of our life. So this will bring up a current within your inner space for you to observe, and it will you're going to be bringing up a lot of resistance, because this is complaining is something that we do a lot. And by bringing up this resistance, and if you observe like I told you, you will be able to bring more consciousness and more awareness to it, and it's going to become a conscious struggle. So this is how you can use the world to become more conscious and more aware, because all your daily situations can be used. Everything that you encounter in life can be used as a reminder and as material to become more self-aware and more conscious. So this is an amazing experiment that can have the potential to really change your life and really give you deep insight into who you really are, how you behave. And by observing a lot of these habits and seeing them thousands of times play out, and by infusing your life with more awareness and bringing more awareness to these habits, eventually what can happen is that, like I said, if you can see it, you don't need to be it. And just because you see this habit playing out, you don't need to go along with it, because that's by doing this, you're going to slowly start extracting your sense of identity from all these habits. And by doing that, then you'll be in more of a position to change your behavior. And when you can observe a situation in which you realize that you're acting in a new way that is not dictated through habit, oh my God, it's like, this is what it means to be reborn, to be a new man. Because now you are acting from a place of awareness, from a place of consciousness, and you're slowly not breaking away from your habitual tendencies. So this is amazing. I don't know how else to say it. So please try this experiment and try to incorporate many of the things that I shared with you. And if done sincerely, you will gain invaluable self-knowledge, knowledge that will help you grow in your beingness, in your being. So yeah, I hope you really enjoyed that video, and let me know how it goes. And remember, like I told you, this is an impossible thing, but the goal is just to make you aware of all the things I mentioned. So I hope you found this video insightful, and I hope you're able to apply these ideas and to see for yourself. And like I said, never believe anything that I share on my channel. Take the ideas and apply them and see for yourself, and through your own experience verify whether what I say rings true for you and is shown to be true in your experience. And once that becomes your own knowledge and your own understanding, you'll be able to see how it applies in your life. Because like I said, we're all different and we all process the world differently. And what may not make sense now will possibly in the future, or you'll see it when you see something in a new light. And yeah, these ideas are very transformative if you approach them with the right perspective and right understanding. But like I said, not everybody is ready for these type of ideas. And also, the main thing also from this experiment, what I want to show you is to use, by applying these ideas, as far as with complaining, you'll start to see that you'll start going from the external world and start making a shift more to your internal world, because you will realize that complaining for the most part doesn't do anything to solve our problems. Usually it just serves to exacerbate them. So then you'll go from the things you can't control, which is the external world, you'll start slowly making the shift to the things that you can control or can have more insight in, which is your internal world. So you'll go from the world of matter, of form, to the world of formlessness, of consciousness. And when you can sense that you're making that transition, it's a monumental, did I just make up a word? A monumental moment in your life. So have a great day, guys. I wish you guys the best. And as always, if you enjoy my content, please share and hit the little bell symbol that will notify you when I make some new videos. And like I said, if you try this project, this experiment, I would be curious to find out some of your results. And take care. Peace.